We have with us Lane Taylor from McKesson. He's a really responsive sales rep. He's great to work with, and we're happy to answer any questions you have. I'll be watching the chat window throughout the webinar this morning because we have multiple people from different locations calling in or watching from their computer. It works a lot better when people use the chat dialogue for questions. Lane would be very happy to follow up with you afterwards to have any conversations or visits or things that he would need to have with you. And so without further delay, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Lane Taylor.
Thank you, Blake. Good morning, everyone. I hope all is doing well, and it is a beautiful, I guess, Thursday morning. I'm really happy and excited to do this presentation for the organization. Blake and I have been talking about this for almost a year now, and I'm excited to share what McKesson Medical has to offer, and especially what has been done on the back end with McKesson and also the University of Tennessee. So I am the account manager for Tennessee, but you may do business with McKesson, or if you've heard of McKesson, or if you've introduced yourself, or if someone has introduced yourself to a McKesson rep, we all collaborate. It is just myself and Blake that have been working together here in this Knoxville office, but I have the capability of covering the entire state of Tennessee. So the Chattanooga, the Memphis, Jackson, all of those areas. So that is kind of, when I say account Tennessee executive, I'm the point person for the University of Tennessee. So that's kind of what that means there. So we'll move on to the next slide. So who and what is McKesson Medical? So some people have may seen this in various outlets in the market. Right now, we're a healthcare company distributing pharmaceuticals, healthcare technology, medical supplies, and care management tools. There are three main silos with McKesson that you may see in the marketplace. You have got the pharmaceutical side of McKesson, and which includes people that service pharmacies, because we are very big in the pharmacy space. You will see healthcare information technology. If you go into hospitals, you will see us in the hospital space as far as people use us, on the day-to-day. I know several hospitals in the Tennessee market use McKesson Medical's EMR system. And then you've got the medical supply distribution channel. So there are three main silos. The silo that we're speaking about today, of course, is the medical distribution silo of the business. Right now, we're a Fortune Global 500. We sit fifth right now. We have 760,000 employees across the United States, and we're growing globally. And that's just a little bit about the background of what McKesson Medical is. So we are, of course, talking about the medical surgical division that is servicing the University of Tennessee. We have an online ordering platform, which I will go on to here in the next slide or two, and we call it Supply Manager. Some of you guys may have seen Supply Manager, but it's a really futuristic, I hate to compare it to Amazon, but it's very much kind of like Amazon, where it's point and click, and we'll show you some interesting features of that here soon. But we serve anywhere from physician offices, surgery centers, home health agencies, labs, government agencies, and of course, universities. We have about 200,000 products across 60 distribution channels and also 60 distribution hubs within the United States. So with the University of Tennessee and all of its campuses, we have a distribution hub in Atlanta, Georgia, and then we have one in Memphis, Tennessee as well. So if you guys order from McKesson, or if you, after this, if you look to order from McKesson, then that is where your supplies are going to come from. And a little bit about those supplies. Actually, I'll get in that too here in a minute as far as expectations, as far as delivery and whatnot. So as far as where you see a dedicated rep, this is where this is where I like to say that McKesson sets itself apart. I've had the pleasure of working with the University of Tennessee coming up on 2 years now, and we've had many success stories of customers that are using McKesson, and we've been able to build a formulary for them for pricing and contracts, and I deal with that on at a global level. So I'm able to speak with Blake, and as far as loading contracts, making sure contracts and pricing are loaded, making sure that the punch-out system is working. You guys on the punch-out back end, you guys use a system called ESM, and I've become very good friends with the people at ESM because I get to talk with them daily to make sure that everything is set up correctly for when you guys do use the punch-out system. So that the dedicated rep part is something that I really pride myself on and excited to share with you guys, and how we can help you guys do more business with McKesson. So a little bit of the history with McKesson and the University of Tennessee. I guess it was about 2 years ago that we all came together because University of Tennessee was looking to implement the MCAP pricing and the contracting, and McKesson had a deal with MCAP to where we were able to access that MCAP pricing and pass it along to the customers. So I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with what the MCAP pricing is, but it is an organization that allows universities and government agencies to access pricing, the best pricing available in the market, to where you don't have to put out multiple bids for those items. So that's really where the history began. But then once we dug further down deep into it, we realized that there was an opportunity for us to be on your punch-out system, and for you guys to utilize us because of pricing consistency, for contracting, and the fact that you had a rep that I could help you guys load things and have a point of contact to where you could get a majority of not only your medical supplies, where you could get your laboratory supplies. We have over 200,000 products, and I sometimes am amazed on how much stuff that we do have. So that is a little bit about the history of McKesson working together. We currently have, I would say, about 8 customers with the university and McKesson that are having tremendous success ordering with McKesson. The University of Tennessee Grad School of Medicine is been a current customer, and the University of Tennessee Vet School is working with us. We have some other offices down in the Chattanooga area that are working with us and having much success. So the success is there, and it's growing, and we're excited that this will be another stepping stone for a little bit of growth as well. So competitors, I always like to talk about competitors, and I will never, ever, you'll never hear me bash a competitor. You'll never hear me say, one bad thing about a competitor. I think everyone has their spot in the marketplace, but you may hear of companies that compete with us, Henry Schein's of the world, Cardinal. There are, I consider Amazon and Staples also a competitor. We really are, McKesson, a one-stop shop, and that's the way that we try to make it. As far as we have reams of paper, copy paper that you can get. We have tables and chairs. We have office setups. We really try to make it a one-stop shop. But the competitors in the marketplace, those are some of the ones that you may hear of, and those are the ones that I compete with every single day, and what you may see as well on your punch-out system. So moving on to the advantages of McKesson, and then also what we offer. Right now, we are currently on your punch-out. So with that being said, I should have put an asterisk there. So we have opened up the catalog and the punch-out system only to a select few of users, because University of Tennessee is a very robust system, and we wanted to make sure that when we loaded it, that it was done in an efficient way to where everything wasn't, it didn't get lost in the shuffle in the very beginning. So you may see that McKesson emblem on your punch out, and if you don't, then we'll speak about how to do that later. But that is a very quick switch to where there's just a communication that needs to be done with myself, Blake, or someone internally within McKesson. So that is one of the reasons why we've had so much success, is because we were on the punch out. So moving down to Supply Manager. Supply Manager is what we call our online ordering platform. So that is just basically like a website that you would go to place your online orders. So if you were to log in and you hit the McKesson emblem on your punch out, you would punch out to our online ordering system. So that's something that is very unique too that McKesson and UT has built. So instead of punching out to a catalog that UT has built, we actually punch out to our entire catalog to where you can search and see anything within that we have to offer. And I will show you on the next slide kind of on how you do that stuff. So the advantages, like I said as well, contracting, you know, we have the ability, if you reach out and you say, hey, I would be interested in looking what McKesson has to offer, there are steps that I like to go through to make sure that you are going to be accessing all the contracts. I have a dedicated contracting team that as soon as you say, you know, I would like to be on the punch out, I would like to look at the pricing, I would always make sure that you are loaded to the correct contracts. And I have a contracts team that would look up your account, your address, and then load you to the correct account or correct contracting. And then also I would be able to put you on the University of Tennessee pricing. Pricing is something that we have been working on for about 2 years and making it as consistent as we can. That is the goal that we set forth about 2 years ago, was having pricing consistency across the board. Because I think that is something that is very important, especially with an organization of this stature with University of Tennessee. So that is stuff that I will be able to do on the back end with contracting and pricing. And of course, another advantage is that you get a point of contact with myself, where you can call or text me anytime that you need to, and we make sure that you guys get the supplies that you need at a timely manner. So moving on to the next slide. This right here is what you guys punch out to. So you will punch out through your system, and this would be the landing page that you were to see. And this is what everyone would see. There are many advantages to using this system. Up at the very top of the bar, you can search. You really can search just about anything that you would be interested in, anywhere from gloves to laboratory supplies. It is a very forgiving search bar. So if you get off this phone call and you just say, I would just like another avenue possibly to look to see where I may be getting, my gloves from. If you're getting your gloves right now from Staples and you would like to see the price of our gloves, you could go up to that search bar after I load you to contracts and pricing, and you would be able to look at, the gloves, and you would be able to see what the price is on that as well. If you move over to the left, you will see an option where it says My List. This is something else that's very nice to build with customers that have very similar formularies. So for instance, we currently do business with the University of Tennessee Student Health Center, and they have been with us for close to 2 years now. And we've got a formulary down to where they order the exact same thing almost every single month. So we have built their list on the side, and you would be able to select that. And that's pretty much the list that they're able to pull off from. And they really don't deviate from that list. They're able to always see that it's there. They're able to see when they ordered it last. They're able to see if there's been a price change. Those lists are always there for you. Another cool, really neat option is if there's someone on this line that has, one account, where let's say that you have 4 or 5 people that order on your account. If you would like to set up a dedicated list for those users, for them just to order off of that list, that is something that we can build as well. If you do not want them to order off that list or spend unnecessary items, then that is something that we can build as well. Scheduled orders, I like to tell people that it's also, if you go on vacation or if you know that you're going to need something the following Friday, but you don't want to place it until Thursday, you can schedule orders on there. That is something that is just another tool that the McKesson Supply Manager ordering platform has. Spend Manager is really something that I'm excited for, especially with the reporting capabilities that it has with McKesson. Spend Manager, you can go in there and you really can find out where you're spending your money, and then it also in what segment are you spending the money. It'll break it down to office supplies. It'll break it down to medical supplies. It'll break it down to office setups. That is all the reporting that you have at your fingertips on a day-to-day basis. It updates daily, and you can see all of that stuff. Another really cool feature on the ordering platform is your contact up in the right corner. It says contact your account manager. That is a button that most systems, if you contact customer service, you're going to get a random customer service button. That contact your account manager button is actually me. So that is something that is really an advantage too. I get a lot of people within the university that will use that contact your account manager because I know what you guys use. I know what you guys need. I know the contracting, the pricing. It's not going to be some customer service rep sitting across over in San Francisco that doesn't know anything about what we have been doing. So that is another interesting feature with the ordering platform. So moving on to the next slide. So you're probably wondering, what is available to purchase with McKesson? And I highlighted on it, we've got about 200,000, supplies or SKUs all in our distribution network. McKesson branded supplies are, I don't like to use this analogy, but I will for simplicity's sake. It is just like if you were to go to Walmart and you were to get their Great Value brand. We have major suppliers that do our branding for us. So, you may have a Sempramed glove that you use every day in the lab, but Sempramed makes our McKesson branded gloves, and Tennessee and McKesson have contracted out to where you may be spending $3 or $4 on a McKesson branded glove versus $11. So the McKesson brands is we are quickly expanding that portfolio, and that is something that is where you see a lot of savings. Laboratory supplies, we have that as well. We have a huge catalog for that. We have office equipment and then capital equipment as well. Capital equipment is also there as well, and those are ones that I usually deal with people, on the back end when they need to email me, and those are large quotes or large bids, and that is stuff that that we do every single day as well. And if you have things that go to RFPs or whatnot, we can handle that all at the procurement office level.
So Lane, what are some examples of capital equipment? Are you talking about MRI machines or what are we talking about?
Yep, so you got MRI machines, you can do X-ray machines, you can do large laboratory equipment. Any bigger purchases that your offices may need, it is, it's worth an email to find out if we can get it, because there's a lot of times that we can source it, and I like to tell people, especially very early on in the beginning when we started this relationship, there's really nothing that I won't try to figure out if we can get it, because we have so many vendors that work with us. And that is the advantages of being a Fortune 5 company, is a lot of those vendors want to work with us. So that is some examples of the capital equipment. Going back to the distribution network, I think this is something that I really like to highlight on as well. So we have the distribution hubs in Atlanta, and we also have them in Memphis. If you are interested in doing business with McKesson and you are looking online, when you go to order supplies or you go to order anything on McKesson, if it is locally stocked in the branch that you were hooked up with and you order it before 5 p.m., then you will get it on our private fleet of trucks next day. So we have next day delivery on our private fleet trucks if it is locally stocked in our branch. So that is a very, huge advantage. We have dedicated drivers. We have our own fleet of trucks. And then also, if you have something that is an urgent need that you need next day, that is always a conversation to where you can email me or you can call and text me as well. But most of our supplies, about 93%, what we saw last time, we stock locally at the branch that you would be pulling out of. So if something has to come from a different branch, then it would come UPS, but most of the supplies would come next day. So for instance, I like to tell people this too because we're working in 2 time zones with the University of Tennessee. If you are in the central time zone, which is going to be the Crossville over to Memphis, you have until 4 p.m. to get it next day delivery, versus on the East Coast, on the Knoxville, and I think some of the Chattanooga as well, you're going to have until the 5 p.m. cutoff to get it to next day delivery, and you're going to get it on your private fleet truck. So that is another advantage when you use McKesson. So moving on to the next slide. So how to order from McKesson. If you go on your punch-out system right now and you see the McKesson logo, then you have already been, I guess we'll say, dedicated to hit the punch-out. If for some reason that is not working, there are some workarounds around that. So when you guys go in and you set up your McKesson, or not, I'm sorry, when you go in to set up your default ship-to addresses, if that default ship-to address does not hook up with your McKesson account number or account that we have set up, then there may be some issues. And that is something to where we can work around that. So if you see the McKesson emblem and you're currently ordering on there and you're getting your supplies next day, then you should be good. If you see the McKesson emblem and it doesn't seem to be working, or if you place an order for something and you did not get it, please let me know, let Blake know, because that usually means that the ship-to address that you have in your default profile possibly is not set up. So I always like to set the expectations on setting up a new user. So if you get off this phone call and there is interest to see what McKesson has to offer, if you want to look at the pricing, if you want to look at the formulary, if you want to look at seeing how it would work, then I always like to set expectations, because since UT is so robust and since there are so many contracts and pricing in place, you would need to let us know that yes, that you would be interested in looking at getting set up on the punch out. So when that transpires, there will be a communication that is sent to me, and then most likely I will be in contact with you and ask you make sure that your address and ship to and bill to are set up properly. Once those are set up, then I go on the back end and make sure on ESM side that everything is set up. So I make sure that the punch out is up correctly, and then also I make sure that contracts are in place and pricing is in place. The process, I like to tell people 5 business days from the moment of saying, hey, I would like to do business. I would like to do it quicker, but there's just a lot of moving parts on that. So the first thing that is the most important step is just letting me know that yes, you want to be on the punch out system. If you want to be on the punch out system, then a simple email to Blake or a simple email to myself, which you will see at the very end of this slide, and then we will get that process going. And like I said, the default ship to is another troubleshooting thing that we can work around, and I can explain that to you on the phone or via email on what we need to have set up correctly. So moving on to the next slide. So, that is it with as far as McKesson and UT goes. I hope that the overview of where we are, where we're going with McKesson, there's a lot of advantages that we see are happening right now in the marketplace with UT and McKesson. A lot of users are coming on board, and it's a seamless process. We like to think that we have nailed it down. If that is my personal cell phone number. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I worked for the McKesson in South Carolina before moving back to Tennessee, and I just never changed my number because I had too many contacts. So that is my personal number. You can call that number. You can text it. I tell people that as well because I know texting helps save time. But that is my personal email as well. So again, if you are interested in doing business with McKesson, if you're interested in looking at the pricing, if you are interested in just about anything that McKesson has to offer, then we can set you up on the punch out, and it does not take long, and then I can show you how to, possibly if there's an opportunity for you guys to save money, if you can save time. I I tell customers that are with big government, with universities, I like to tell people, especially early on, I say, what account A in Knoxville will do versus account B in Memphis is completely different. You guys may want reporting, you may want better pricing, you may want a formulary for your customers to use. So just think, if you had a magic wand and you said, I wish McKesson did this, or I wish the people that I ordered supplies from did this, just let me know, and I will find out if it's something that we can do. 9 times out of 10, it is something that we can do. The University of Tennessee Student Health, we just set up an inventory manager scan system to where they have barcodes in their supply room, and they scan everything into a scanner now, and that's something that they looked into. The vet school wanted a formulary to where they only could order off of a certain formulary. So it's not one size fits all. It's really what makes makes your life easier. If you're looking to save money or turn down a cost center, that is something that we can look to as well. So I hope that at some point during this there was something that jumped out, and feel free to email me or call or text. And if there's any questions on the chat box, I would be happy to answer those as well.
Please don't hesitate to reach out to Lane or myself if you have any questions at all about McKesson or about this presentation. So, okay, well, no questions. We'll go ahead and end the call. So I want to thank everybody for their time this morning and your attention. I know it's a busy time of year, and it's really nice of you to join us this morning. So I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.